He was mankind's greatest threat. So the world's most brilliant minds sent him away. They thought he would find peace among the stars.
The Hardcast. It's time for another furiously misunderstood episode of the Hardcast. I'm your host Chris, and today I'm joined by Patrick.
Give me back my son!
Tonight's review/discussion is about Marvel's 2010 animated action-adventure direct-to-DVD movie, Planet Hulk, directed by Sam Liu and written by Greg Johnson and Greg Pak. Featuring the voices of Rick D. Wasserman, Samuel Vincent, and Kevin Michael Richardson. Earth's mightiest superheroes exile Hulk into outer space, and he soon finds himself on the distant planet of Sakaar, which is ruled by the tyrannical Red King. Hulk is soon sold into slavery and forced to fight for his life in the gladiatorial arena. Hulk forges a bond of brotherhood with his fellow fighters and becomes Sakaar's mightiest warrior. The desperate people see the Hulk as their prophesized champion, but will the green monster save their world or destroy it? So Patrick, did Planet Hulk give you a deeper understanding of the tormented soul that is the Incredible Hulk? Or were you still left wondering, what the hell was that mutant yellow horse thing with the Mickey Mouse gloves that was dressed like Thor?
I don't know. This movie was really messed up. Very confusing at times. Some of the fight sequences were awesome. And yes, what the hell was that horse-looking thingy with the hammer? That didn't make any sense. I guess he was making his own horseshoes or something. And I pointed out they had gloves. I'm pretty sure he had gloves.
Yeah, there was that one scene when he was on Earth. He had those Mickey Mouse gloves.
Yeah, and he always looked like an angry horse.
It was like Mr. Ed on steroids.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed on steroids. But anyway, we start off the movie with Hulk waking up inside of a ship, and he's locked up, and all the superheroes from Earth.
Iron Man.
Yeah, the Marvel superheroes anyway. They're all saying, oh, you cannot control yourself.
I am truly sorry for what we've had to do. We had no choice.
So he's locked up, and of course that makes him angry. How could you lock, the Hulk up? Of course, the whole time he's trying to bash the ship up, which is stupid because he's in space, and I don't really care that he's the Hulk or not. He'd be dead in space.
What happened was that Iron Man and the other guys had a trajectory set up for the ship to go to this planet where there was no intelligent life, so he couldn't really hurt anything of importance. He could just roam around, be free or whatever. But of course, he's not happy with that because he doesn't want to do what other people want him to do, regardless of if they're looking out for him or not. And then, like you said, he just starts smashing up the ship. That throws their heading off, and he gets sucked into this wormhole and then crash lands on the planet of Sakaar. Conveniently, right at the same time that this priest guy is chanting and praying for their savior to arrive.
A warrior who looks into the eyes of death and stands his ground.
I think we have to mention that the animation within the ship when the Iron Man and all the guys looks terrible. It looks kind of like Flash animation or something.
Yeah, the other characters, I guess because they're not really main characters, they're not in any detail. Actually, none of the characters really have detail too much. I was kind of let down by that because even though I'm jumping ahead a little, or a lot really, the special features showed the comic book which it was based upon. The comic book looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. It looks really, really good.
And all the special edition covers and all that look amazing. And then you look at the show and you're like, what the fuck happened? I don't know, like Disney or...
I think it was budget constraints and then the fact that they were going more for that old school Batman, Superman look from the TV show. The animated television show from the 90s. Everyone went for that look. Even though I thought it made sense for Batman because of the gothic style. But then they start using it on everything and it's kind of like, no, I don't think so. They should have gone with like a grittier, more realistic approach, I think, for this. But they probably budget constraints.
Yeah, and budget constraints were obvious when mention of the original having Silver Surfer and how they couldn't because of some legal loophole. I couldn't understand. What would be the point of making a comic book movie and you couldn't really license all the characters in it? That seemed a little ridiculous to me, anyway.
It is kind of ridiculous, but because of that, we get the wonderful Beta Ray Bill.
Oh yeah, so wonderful. The fucking warhorse or whatever the hell he is. You want to explain the story now? The whole Beta Ray Bill story?
Not really. We should probably get back to this story. He crash lands on Sakaar. And the moment he pops out, these little hive insect alien guys start attacking him. And of course, he's throwing them around, tossing them all over the place. And then these red guys show up who are in humanoid red guys in armor. And they shoot him with this little device. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like an obedience chip or something.
Like a disc that goes over the heart or the chest.
And then it sends these things, I think they call them talk bots or something, to the brain.
They're nanobots that control and let you, like, basically they control your body.
They didn't really explain it completely, but it seemed more like they could turn them on at certain times and make you obedient because it would hurt you. But then also it would send these little nanobots to your brain, and then it would translate everyone's language so everyone sounded like they were speaking English, which of course is convenient for the movie. Next time he wakes up, he's in this transport with all these other guys, and he's chained up, and you can hear Eleven, something like that?
Lavin, the rebel.
And he's also red, but apparently he used to work for the Red King. He actually went over to the rebels' side because he doesn't believe in the Red King anymore because everyone thinks he's a tyrant.
And of course we have to put in that the king at the time thinks he is the Sakarson or whatever.
Yeah, the Sakarson, prophesized champion of Sakar.
The Mohadib of this planet or whatever.
Yeah, Messiah, whatever you want to call him.
So he thinks, because of the legend, he thinks he's the one, but everyone else thinks he is, but in fact he is not. But this is at the time when the Sakarson will appear.
This is when we get introduced to, I guess, the motley group, the band, the brotherhood, whatever you want to call them. We get to meet Korg, who's this big stone dude who looks kind of like the Thing from Fantastic Four. He's pretty cool. He's voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, I believe. Very gruff sounding. He's pretty strong as well. He's not the Hulk. He can do some damage. Then you got Hiroim, which I guess is that rebel priest guy. And then you've got LOA, which was, I want to say, lover / fighter, right hand of Lavin.
You talking about the resistance guy?
And we have to mention, too, that the movie's only around 80 minutes, 81 minutes roughly. So even as far as movies go, it's pretty short. And then you got my favorite character is Miek. He's Miek, the hider? And he's not a fighter, he's a hider.
Miek is a hider, not a fighter. And every time they're fighting, he's like, you should do what I do. Hide.
He's always got 2 or 3 shields.
When everybody dies, he goes up to them and said, you should have been hiding.
He's great, though. He's a great character. I liked him a lot.
He's good because basically what he is, he's a native of the planet, like an ant, basically. And he's an
outcast.
So he actually changed color. You could see that he's actually black in color, and everybody else is yellow. Even the other hive members that were stuck in there totally ignored him. They didn't want anything to do with him because he was an outcast.
Right.
Of course, being outside of the hive and all that really warped his mind. He's kind of like, I want to say, from Lord of the Rings. What was
Precious.
Yes, yeah.
Gollum, I think is his name.
Gollum.
Yeah, he did kind of remind me of a Gollum.
Because they're so detached from other of their kind that
they don't really socialize too much.
The language and all that, they lose kind of like their vernacular, and they aren't able to truly talk.
I think that's pretty much it of the ones that actually survive. Of course, there's an android there. Lavin tries to get them all organized, telling them, we're going to have a front line, a second line, and then the final line, and we work together, we can live through today. And of course, you got Hulk in the corner not really paying attention because he's a bit of a loner.
And he's chained up, and he's trying to break the chains, and basically.
Right. The doors open, and they're in the stadium, the arena, ready to go. Tons of people in the stands waiting to see some blood. They go out there, and the first thing that happens is Cronins come out, which are Korg's people. Of course, he's in shock because he didn't realize his brothers were still alive, and it's the first he's seen them since they crashed on the planet of Sakar. He's trying to talk to them, but everyone's saying that their minds are gone. They're not who they were before. They're just mindless killing machines now. They're fighting a little bit. Korg's not really doing much because he doesn't want to hurt his brothers. They're pretty much smashing the hell out of the bug. You remember that scene where the hive guys get totally pulped?
Yeah, they're like, we can take care of the weak one, the one that's on the ground. They jump on top and they get totally smash their pus, I guess, or...
The natives are down. Very messy.
And of course, Miek is like, you should have been a hider.
Yeah, that was funny. But at that moment, you were like, okay, this is PG-13. And then you see Hulk is in the corner with Miek trying to bust through the door. He doesn't even care about the fight. He's like, I'm leaving. I'm getting the fuck out of here. This is stupid.
Yeah, he spends the whole fight at that door just pushing on it. Like a little kid or something, like, and he doesn't do anything. He spends the whole fight just pushing the door. And everybody's dying and getting crushed and shit.
Of course, the whole time the Red King is watching up in the stands. And that's when Miek starts talking about the Red King. That's when Hulk starts getting the idea, okay, that's the head guy. I got to take care of him if I want to get out of here. But of course, first of all, though, Lavin is still trying to organize everybody into some kind of fighting stance or something.
Formation.
Trying to figure it out, get a strategy down, but everyone's kind of going off and doing their own thing. And I think the android gets destroyed somewhere in the process. Although I think that's when the Great Devil Corker comes out, right?
Yes.